Back again with another review, and today we're going to talk about and review The Omega Man, a 1971 film which stars Charlton Heston, and this is actually the second adaptation in a series of novels by Richard Matheson. The first one was The Last Man on Earth, which they had done before with Vincent Price, and the third one was I Am Legend, which they would go on to do later. And I thought The Omega Man was a good, solid movie. The plot, so our main character, Robert Neville, is played by Charlton Heston, and he's the only survivor of this apocalyptic war waged with biological weapons. And, this plague has basically taken out society, and he's immune to this plague because he's taken this experimental vaccine. And again, it's killed everyone else except for a few hundred deformed people. Basically, this nocturnal cult of albino mutants that call themselves the Family, and this plague has caused them to be sensitive to light, as well as being psychotic, and they believe that science and technology, to be the cause of war and their punishment, and that Neville represents, the last symbol of science, so therefore he must die. And that's the plot to this film. Now, the film is directed by Boris Sagal, and I don't know what else he's directed, but in terms of direction, I thought it was good here. I mean, I thought he brought some energy to the film, especially, in the first act, where we see Charlton Heston's character, right around Los Angeles, and, LA's in ruins. And there's a moment where, he steals a car. And there's some cool stuff in the beginning where, there's an energy here. There's an energy with the film. There's an energy with, Charlton Heston's performance. And there's a moment even where Charlton Heston is in a theater and he's watching Woodstock, the Woodstock concert. And so I think for the most part, the director here, even though I haven't really seen too much of his stuff, but, he brought some good, energetic direction here. Now the cast, Charlton Heston, of course, from Planet of the Apes, The Ten Commandments, and Soylent Green, which I'll be reviewing next. I thought he was good here. Charlton Heston, I thought he brought some good energy to the character of Robert Neville. And there's some cool scenes in the beginning, which I talked about. Even his hideout, it's heavily armed. He has a fortified apartment with weapons. And I thought that was pretty cool because at nighttime, the family, and again, they're basically this group of, albino mutants. And I like the look of the mutants, sort of like this white makeup and, crazy eyes. And at nighttime, they're trying to, draw out Neville, from his apartment. And I thought that was cool. Some cool scenes, where, they're shooting this stuff at his apartment, and at one point it catches on fire. But, Charlton Heston, again, I thought he was good here in the film. I thought, he brought some good energy to the character. I like the look of his apartment, when we first see it. He has like a little table set up with chess, and he has, because he's by himself. So like he has this table with chess, and on the other side of the table is this bust, and I believe it's like a bust of Julius Caesar. And again, the whole apartment's fortified with weapons and stuff. And so, yeah, Charlton Heston, to me, was good in the film. Anthony Zerbe, he plays the main villain, sort of the leader of the group of the family. Again, these mutants. And Anthony Zerbe, you've seen this guy before. He was in License to Kill, The Dead Zone. He was in The Matrix Reloaded. And he's still around, believe it or not. But I thought he was a good villain here in the film. Matthias. You also have in the film Rosalind Cash. who plays the character of Lisa. And her character would appear and you get a little bit of a romance between Charlton Heston and Rosalind Cash. And unfortunately, Rosalind Cash has passed away, but, she's been in other stuff like, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and Tales from the Hood. And she was very, very pretty in in this film. And believe it or not, it's one of this is according to IMDb, the scene where the main character of Neville and the girl, Lisa, Rosalind Cash's character, kiss is one of the first interracial kisses on screen. And again, that's according to IMDb. So, interesting little note there. But Rosalind Cash, she played a good character in the film. I liked her and Charlton Heston, their rapport. I liked her character. You also have Paul Koslow, and he plays the character of Dutch who, looks after these kids, because you find out that the main character is not alone, but there's also this like orphanage, and you have this one character, Dutch, who, helps Rosalind Cash's character, looks after the kids. So he's in the film. And the main kid in the film is played by Eric Lanuville. And, I looked this guy up, and this guy has directed a lot of television. And, he's directed a lot of episodes of Blue Bloods and Lost. I mean, if you look at his IMDb, the main kid in the film, he's directed a lot of TV, a lot of stuff, going back, to the 80s. And he's still working, still directing a lot of TV shows and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But again, the cast here to me worked. Again, Charlton Heston, he brings a good energy to the film, especially in the first half. Anthony Zerbe was a good villain. Rosalind Cash was good support. I didn't mind their little romance in the film. So yeah, the cast is good. The score here, I didn't mind the score. Taking place in LA, I liked, again, the look of LA and that it's in ruins, and that, and then when you find out later when Charlton Heston's characters are not alone, I liked when the supporting characters helped out Charlton Heston. And the production value to me didn't bother me at all. I mean, it was good. I mean, again, for early 70s and how they were able to make the streets look, especially at night. I mean, there's some good night shots here. I just remember the scene where the family, these mutants, had taken Charlton Heston, and they're getting ready to kill him, and that's when Rosalind, there's a moment where Rosalind Cash is on a motorcycle, and I think, Charlton Heston, they get on this motorcycle, and they're riding through the stadium, and all the mutants are trying to stop them. I thought that was cool. Even though you could tell in some of those shots that, Charlton Heston on the bike is a stuntman. But, that it didn't bother me too much, but you could definitely, tell a little bit. But, that's some cool stuff right there. There's some cool action kind of here and there throughout the movie. And that's just one moment that I remembered, because I liked how, they're kind of riding around in the stadium and the mutants are trying to stop them. And again, with the mutants here, the family in this film, I like the look. I like the use of makeup, sort of the white makeup. I mean, nowadays, you can imagine, if they were to make this film, they would just make them CGI mutants, or kind of like you would see in, I Am Legend, which I don't really care for the look of those creatures. Here in this film, they kind of look like vampires, but they're more so, mutants. I mean, pretty much albino mutants, as a result of a plague. But I liked that they used practical makeup, practical contacts, which you don't see nowadays. But again, I appreciate that stuff. I mean, and then kind of later on, you find out that because Neville had taken this vaccine, that basically he's got this blood serum, and he can cure basically with his blood. And the ending to the film, I will say, it is a downbeat ending. I mean, I will say that, kind of spoiler alert for people out there. It does have a downbeat ending where basically, and I'm going to get into some spoilers here, where, so you get into a final fight, and long story short, Charlton Heston's character gets killed, and he hands off the blood serum to the Dutch character, to basically, basically leave me be, go save everybody else, that type of thing, sacrifice. And I don't know if I like the way that Charlton Heston's character gets it, where Matthias, the main villain, from his balcony. And the one moment that really got me, I will say, I didn't see coming in the film, was where, and again, this is getting into some spoilers here. Maybe I shouldn't be spoiling some scenes here, but when you find out that the main kid, he turns, and then Rosalind Cash, her character turns, becomes a mutant. And in that moment, I felt bad for Charlton Heston, because they had a little romance going on, a little bit of a relationship. And then Rosalind Cash's character turns into a mutant. And I kind of felt bad for Charlton Heston's character. But, at the very end, basically Neville dies after being impaled by a spear, because Matthias had thrown the spear. And Neville's character dies in a fountain. And he hands off the blood serum to the survivors. And they're able to get out, Rosalind Cash's character. So again, the film, the ending is downbeat, I mean, I will say. But, overall, the Omega Man, I do feel it's a solid movie. For me, I think Charlton Heston does a good job as the lead. And again, he brings energy to the character. I like, especially the first act of the film. But, Charlton Heston is a great actor. He's a classic actor and does a good job throughout the movie. I thought the supporting cast here, of Rosalind Cash and Anthony Zerbe as the villain, to me, did fine. Taking place in L.A., where, kind of reminds me a little bit of, Escape from New York, a little bit of those vibes, but, where everything's in ruins. But, I like that type of movie where it's, apocalyptic, and, basically Charlton Heston is the last man on Earth, but, you find out that he's not really, but you have some other characters there that are good supporting characters. And I like, again, the look of his apartment, where it's fortified with weapons. The production value is good. The direction is fun. And, yeah, yes, like I said, even though the film does have a downbeat ending, but I still enjoyed it. And overall, on a scale to 1 to 10, I would give this a 7. To me, it's a solid, enjoyable flick. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say this is a favorite of mine, or, it's a, to me, one of those sci-fi movies that I'm going to rewatch like anytime soon. But, it's a good, solid flick. And you got some good sci-fi elements in there, some good performances. And, the film is an hour and a half. It's not long at all. So yeah, the Omega Man 1971, I liked it, and I recommend it. So again, a good solid movie. Solid sci-fi movie of the 70s. But that's it for now. Just want to say thank you for watching and stay tuned for my review of Soylent Green. But thank you for watching and have a good day.